As National Flag, can we go ahead? Or you still need to
Yes,
confirm?
yes, we can start.
Okay. Thank you very much. I would want to welcome you all to today's Tech Talk. It's going to be done by Albaraka Bank. Is one of the banks that do Islamic banking in South Africa. I'm told it's one of the leading banks in Islamic banking. Um, and I also would want to welcome the students that are amongst us. This presentation will just guide you towards the skills that you need to be a successful software developer and just open up to you some of the opportunities that may be available for you with Albaraka Bank. Without any wasting much time, I would want now to prepare to hand over to Mr. Hamzah Asmall. But before we do so, I just want to encourage the students to post their questions on the chat. There is a chat on Zoom. So if you've got any questions, you can post them there. Otherwise, you can wait towards the end of the presentation, then we can have a Q&A session. But meanwhile, as the presentation is being done, you can post your questions there. So over to you, Mr. Hamzah Asmall. You will be presenting on the soft skills that you need to be a rockstar developer. I think he's already a rockstar developer, so you'll be sharing those. Over to you, Hamzah.
Good morning, Edgar. Just want a quick sound check. Can you hear me clearly?
We can hear you clearly. Thank you.
Thank you so much for the opportunity to present, and thank you to whoever's tuned in to listen in. I'm really privileged for this opportunity to share some of my learnings over the last, say, 11 years or so in technology, and I hope it's beneficial for all. So a little bit about myself. So I'm the General Manager for Digitalisation at Albaraka Bank. I look after a number of different software development streams, including mobile banking, robotic process automation, data analytics, etc. And over my years, I've had the privilege to work with a number of really brilliant software developers. And a number of them have come through the ranks all the way from graduate, and some of them are now managers as well. And what I want to present today are the softer skills that I've noticed over time that allow people to really bubble up and move through the ranks quickly. So I'm going to jump into it. I do have assistance in the room from people who are watching the chat. So if you post a question, I'll pause and I'll take the question as it comes through. Right? So please shoot. It's meant to be interactive, and I really appreciate questions. Edgar, I see a hand.
Now you can go ahead. I just wanted to thank you for opening up the channel for questions as you present. Thank you.
Okay, cool. Thanks, Edgar. Okay, so the 5 skills I'm going to present. The first one is listen like Oprah. The next one is chat for the win. The third is Googling gets you results and more than just search results. I'm going to try and see if I can hide this window. Yeah. The fourth one is tenacity like Liam Neeson. And if you don't know who he is, when I show you the picture, you'll know who he is. The last one is wear their shoes and ask if things make sense. Right. So let's jump into it. And for those of you who may be young enough and never saw Oprah, this is Oprah, and this is Oprah listening really intently. And a few seconds after this, she's probably going to start tearing. And then if you're watching it with your mom and you look at your mom will probably start tearing also. And you'll have this vision in mind. But really, why I'm bringing up this is that there's 3 key things that Oprah does. And if you do this in your career, it'll really stand you in good stead. Because as developers, any work that we do starts with first listening to somebody in the business giving us some sort of a requirement about what needs to be built. And if we don't listen well, then we off on the wrong foot. And on the contrary, if we listen like Oprah, we're gonna get the information we need, and we're probably gonna smash the ball out the park. So what are the 3 key things that Oprah does? she listens to understand, right? So she concentrates on what the listener is saying, doesn't interrupt, doesn't multitask, doesn't take out a phone, doesn't think about Liverpool versus United on the weekend, that sort of thing. She focuses and understands. And once the speaker is finishes and she's gotten to a point of understanding, she then asks clarifying questions, right? And I can't emphasize this enough. As a developer, when business people speak, they will a lot of times assume that you know what they're talking about because a lot of the times the work is second nature to them. They've done the work for many years, and they're just in this rhythm of people naturally understanding what they're saying. But you coming along as a new developer, you more often than not are not going to understand what people are saying, and it's up to you to ask the clarifying questions, and people appreciate it. It's never seen as you being argumentative, as long as you do it in a nice, calm, clear manner. And also, it's an opportunity to test assumptions that the users might be making in their own minds and help them clarify their own thinking. So you've listened, you've asked clarifying questions, and at the end of it, you need to show empathy, right? So you need to reflect back to the person that, okay, I understand now where you're coming from. I understand the frustration that this problem is giving you. I know now why you want me to build a solution for you, and I'm, part of bringing a solution to life for you. When you do that, when you show empathy, when you build that bridge with the business owner, they see you now as somebody that's part of their team. You build a working relationship and you're setting yourself up for success. So that's the first key skill you need. That's to listen like Oprah. The next one is about being able to chat really well, chat for the win, right? So in the first story, you've got an understanding of the work. You need to do something, but more often than not, the communication doesn't end there, right? So as you start to do the work, you will find more details that need to be unpacked. You come across issues, etc. And in today's world, it's very often the case that people will want to work in an asynchronous fashion using text-based messaging, WhatsApp, Teams, Slack, etc. I'm sure all of you on campus are using a lot of these tools, and the working environment is no different, right? So I'm giving you 7 ways to chat successfully because I've seen there's people who know how to chat and people that don't know how to chat, right? So point one, tell a story. Start at the starting. I don't mean say once upon a time, but rather, give the reader of what you're going to be saying some context. You remember this requirement you gave me? Well, I've hit this roadblock, right? The next thing, use numbered bullet statements to structure your story. So in the working world, people don't have, a lot of time to read through long paragraphs of text. And as developers, you know how intimidating it can be to read a text wall. And so if you use numbered statements like I have here, it makes it very clear for a busy business person, what is it that you're trying to say? In keeping with that, I highly recommend use screenshots, right? So a picture tells 1,000 words. I don't need to say more there. Point four, use plain language, right? So when you talk to business people, they're not going to understand things like objects and references and file paths and all of that. So you need to try and make what you want to say as accessible as possible. And if you struggle here, a good thing to do is to bounce things off your senior. And if you don't have a senior, then you can use something like ChatGPT. Put your information in ChatGPT and say, hey, help me dumb this down, explain it like I'm 5. Those sort of prompts will help you make your conversation with business people a lot easier. The fourth point, create channels and groups to make your issues and work visible, right? So in the working world, a lot of work happens collaboratively. Very often, if there's a user story or a requirement or a project you're working on, there's not just one person that's impacted. And you want to make it as easy as possible for people to chime in and give their inputs. Why this is important for you is because the last thing you want is to spend a lot of time working on something only to get to an end point where another stakeholder comes along and say, hey, I wasn't consultant, I didn't know what you were building, doesn't make sense, I don't like it. So use chats, use groups, bring everyone in, don't be shy to do that. If there isn't a culture of this in an organization that you join, then you should try and initiate it and make it part of the culture. Point six, mention or tag people. Don't be shy. So oftentimes busy business people don't read every group message. They look to see if they were tagged on a group and then only they open the chat. So use the mentioning or tagging people features. And don't be shy to think that people are going to see you as calling them out. It's not that, it's just you bringing something to their attention. And lastly, have fun, right? So every organization's culture can be a little bit different, but generally speaking, from the organizations I've been in, you allowed to, be chill, react, throw a meme out there, tease people, have fun, make it interactive. And that also lends to the energy of the team, and that also ultimately lends to good results. Okay, so the next skill, Googling, right? Now, I don't know if anybody really gets taught how to Google. I don't think it's something taught in academia, but really speaking, it's one of the most fundamental skills to winning as a software developer. You'll often find that when you join the team, if you hit a roadblock and you go and ask your senior, he'll ask you, did you Google it, right? So how do you Google like a pro? The first thing is to know how to use advanced search operators. And if you want to know more about it, Google it. As an example, Stack Overflow is a site where you're going to find a lot of solutions to your problems. And if you use the site operator, like I have here, you can Google and you can limit the results just to the site Stack Overflow, and that'll just give you the results that you want. So for example, if you're getting an error on cookies and you just normally go and Google cookies, you're going to find like cookie recipes coming up, but that's not what you're interested in, right? So if you use the site operator, you're going to get search results coming from Stack Overflow just about cookies. That'll save you a lot of time. It'll make your problem solving faster. The next thing is evaluate your sources of information. So when you Google stuff on the internet, you're going to find information from every man and his dog. Don't just believe everything that you read. Try and triangulate information. If you think something is dodgy, check it with your senior and trust your gut, right? So a lot of times you have a gut feeling about things. Generally, those gut feelings can be good. The last thing is if you're hitting an error while you're coding, search the error itself. That's generally developer culture. People post the error string, people search the error string, and that'll make it a lot faster to zoom in on the solution that you need. On the point about errors, we need to be tenacious, right? So debugging, fixing problems, finding solutions is never easy. Code never ever works on the first go. Doesn't matter whether you're a developer with 15 years experience or you're just new. You're going to struggle. You're going to write code. It's not going to work. You're going to find bugs and you're going to just have to persevere. And I know I worked with my team. We've pulled all-nighters, it's just part of development. It's not something you're going to be doing every week or even every month. If that is the case, then you have a culture problem or a capacity problem. But from time to time, you will find yourself having to persevere. And the key message I want to leave you with here is that it's never you're not the problem. It's always just about the complexity of the field we work in. Software development is complex, and we just need to keep going through it. One of the ways you can help yourself is to break the problem down, right? So there's something called the Socratic method of questioning, and I'll leave it up to you to Google it, where you write down the problem, write down your assumptions, and then try and challenge the assumptions that you have. You might also want to diagram out the problem, and that'll help you to see the different parts in it and help you to pick it apart. The last thing in tenacity is that, yes, be tenacious, persevere, do what you can, but then there comes a point where after you've really tried, you need to also then seek guidance from your seniors. And if there are no seniors that are technical in the business, then go to your manager and say, hey, can you find me a consultant externally that can help? Because time is money and you don't have forever to finish your project. So after you've given it a fair shot, if you're still not getting anywhere, don't wait until the deadline passes to then say, hey, I'm stuck, but rather escalate it early and try and get someone to help you. Okay, And the last one is user empathy, right? So very often as developers, we sit and build things and we think what we're building, people are just going to know how to use it. But when we put a solution out there, users may end up using it in a very different manner to what we thought, right? So try and put yourself in your shoes and ask yourself all the time, will it make sense to the person that I'm building this for? And it often helps as early as possible to go and get feedback from the user. And this is where knowing how to chat often helps. So you put together a mock-up, take a screenshot of it, put it in a chat, ask the user, is this what you thought? Is this what you had in mind? Is this what you were picturing when you were talking to me? Do that often, do that frequently, do that early, and that'll always help you build something that at the end doesn't need a whole rewrite, and that'll save you a lot of stress and get you to a winning position. If you do these things up to 4 years, you could be a senior programmer, and I've got people who made it to senior in 4 years, and you could really be in a good position and enjoying your career. Thank you. Any questions? No question. Okay.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Hamzah. I don't know whether we still have got time, a few minutes. I don't know whether there are any questions for Mr. Asmall. Any questions? Okay, so maybe we can postpone it up until we get to question and answer Q&A section. Now we're moving on to the next part of this tech talk. And on the next one, we're going to have Mrs. Lutchmee Gounden presenting to us. She is an HR manager at Albaraka Bank. She will be giving us Albaraka Bank recruitment and student opportunities. So I think students, you should listen to her attentively as she presents. Over to you, Lutchmee.
Okay, thank you very much, Edgar, and thank you for having me again. It's great to be back on the UKZN platform. Not long ago, we presented at your Westville campus, and it was quite an enlightening experience to be with you there. As mentioned, my name is Lutchmee Gounden. I'm the head of human resources here at Albaraka Bank. And it is with great pleasure that I'm addressing you today. In fact, I'm also a UKZN alumni. I'm not going to tell you which year I graduated because then you'll work out my age, but very proud to be part of this platform and to share with you a little bit of my journey, and very proud as well to represent my company, Albaraka Bank. So yeah, I think UKZN is an excellent platform. I also graduated top 15% and part of the Golden Key Honorary Society as well. My background is in industrial psychology and legal. And as you can see, I've now landed myself in a career of human resources. So also remember that as graduates, not always will you find yourself in the same career path as what you have studied. And it is important to look out for opportunities that can pave your way into becoming a successful professional in the business space. So just getting into my presentation, many of you may not even be aware of who Albaraka actually is. We are by no means a new kid on the block. We've been in South Africa for about 35 years. We are a fully fledged bank governed by the same regulations and the South African Reserve Bank as any other bank. However, the difference with other conventional banks is that our bank is based on faith-based solutions rooted in Islamic Sharia principles. So all of our products, services, etc., is based on Sharia values and principles, and that's the basis of how we deal with both our clients as well as our employees. I'm just going to take you through a little bit of information about the bank and why should you choose Albaraka Bank as your employer of choice. Okay, importantly, when you are selecting an employer, whether it is for an internship or even an entry-level position, it's very important that you understand what your employer does, but also how they do it. And you'll find that a company culture and the value system of an organization will certainly play a very important role in terms of your career development, your retention in the organization, as well as your overall employee satisfaction. In my career, at the peak of my career, I took on a job in a company where I felt that my value system was not aligned to the company's. I did not necessarily agree with their practices, and I failed dismally. They didn't like me, I didn't like them, and it was absolutely a wrong fit for me. So remember that when you are choosing your employer, make sure that you do your research to ensure that they are an ethical company that focuses on doing the right things in terms of community development, employee development, etc. At Albaraka Bank, we are an equal employment opportunity company. Contrary to popular belief, although we are an Islamic bank, we are not only for Islamic clients and Islamic people to be employed at the bank. We have a diverse range of employees across various spectrums that are employed with our organization. And we encourage applications from students across different fields, backgrounds, to support the vibrant and inclusive work environment at the bank. Albaraka Bank is deeply committed to serving the financial needs of the community across South Africa through an ethical, customer-centric approach, and speaking to my colleague's point, tailored for the digital age. And remember that we are always aligned to the mission, vision, and values of Albaraka Banking Group based in Bahrain, of which we are a subsidiary. In terms of our vision, we want to be a global leader in innovative participation finance, offering an agile, ethical financial system built for the digital age. Our mission is to fulfill the financial needs of communities across the globe by conducting business through an ethical, customer-centric approach tailored for the digital age, as I've mentioned, based on our core beliefs aimed at sharing the mutual rewards of our partners in business success, our customers, our employees, our shareholders, and our communities at large. At Albaraka Bank, our values are fundamental to all our practices, and including the way in which we treat our employees. We believe in partnerships, not only with our clients and our stakeholders, but also our staff. We are fleet-footed, yes, as Hamzah said, please Google that. We all had to Google that when our values were launched by our company in Bahrain. And the aim is to adapt to the digital age to fast meet the changing customer behavior and needs in a dynamic, challenging environment. Ultimately, the intention is to be innovative. It's necessary to be able to serve our customers on a here and now basis in a fast and changing world. Development, we are very much rooted in the best interests of our communities and their financial interests to the highest ethical standards. And trust being the last one. We are very high on creating trusting relationships with our employees, ensuring that the employees that we bring on board are a culture fit to our organization with the highest level of ethical principles. In terms of our recruitment ethos, although we are a smaller bank, our recruitment process is quite rigorous in that we not only look for people with the right qualifications, but we look for people who have the aptitude to succeed at the next level of work, as well as to be a culture fit to the company. We realize our intellectual capital is our most valuable resource required to meet our bank's strategic objectives. Okay, in terms of our talent management, our holistic talent management strategy is designed to attract, develop, and retain through constant enhancement of our organizational climate. And we're constantly looking at ways in which to improve the way in which we work, as well as your work environment. At Albaraka Bank, we have a staff complement of 300 employees approximately, with the average age of 33 years of age. So we're still a fairly young workforce. And yes, 33 years of age is still considered young and youthful. So most of our people are, in fact, qualified graduates fulfilling skilled technical roles, with more than 50% comprising of females. I mentioned to you that we are a staff complement of 300 employees, but at the same time, 10% of which comprise of vacancies. So that will tell you that our bank is constantly transforming, we are growing, and we are looking to realign our organization to ensure that we bring in skills to achieve the ultimate strategic objectives of the organizations. These 30 vacancies range from management to technical level positions and are currently open for people to apply. In terms of Albaraka Bank's graduate program, we have been very, very successful with our graduate program. I've been with the bank for about 13 years. And since I came on, the graduate program was already well into its operation. We have a very high retention rate of our graduates that come through our program. And we're very proud to say that the number of our graduates are today in managerial and other senior positions within the bank. We believe in homegrown talent. In fact, there are a number of our executives actually started with the bank in entry-level sales positions and have worked their way up into positions such as the COO, as well as our financial director positions. We also give a lot of opportunities in terms of internships and entry-level roles. Internships generally take the form of partnering with other learning institutions and FET colleges who require work-based experience to complete the qualification. Again, many times we find interns coming into our organization performing real work with real challenges and opportunities, and more often than not, if there's an appropriate vacancy, that in turn would find a home at Albaraka Bank in terms of employment. This is not only limited to the banking environment, but also within areas such as customer services, legal, and IT. We are very high on training and development constantly for our employee empowerment. We partner with Bank CETA, which is your Sector Education Training Authority, which allows us to apply for funding for various courses, scarce skills courses, bursaries, as well as degree-related courses. And a number of our employees are enjoying these opportunities through the bank's training and development programs. We are also proud to say that we are an accredited SICA training institution. We are currently hosting a graduate who is on her way to becoming a qualified chartered accountant, and we have already been successful in qualifying one other employee that is currently in a senior position within the bank. And this is something that we hope to continue going into the future. So how to apply? There are a number of ways that you can apply to the bank. We have a dedicated email address called hr@albaraka.co.za. Any queries as well can be addressed to this email address. Look out for our website, which can be found on www.albaraka.co.za, or alternatively, you can reach out to us on our customer services line. Okay, I think that brings me to the end of my presentation. Before I hand over to Zaahirah, if I can ask my colleague to let me know if there's any questions. No questions? Okay, thank you for that. I'll now hand over to Zaahirah.
Hi, Edgar, just checking that you can hear me.
Hello, before Zaahirah begins, maybe there's a question for Lutchmee here. We are ahead of time, maybe we can take the question. There's Kanyisani Majola is checking whether you do have vacancies for mathematics graduates.
So at the moment, there isn't a structured or tailored graduate program for mathematics graduates. However, remember we are within the finance industry sector space, and depending on your majors and your related qualification, there certainly could be opportunity to explore your CV for any finance related graduate positions. So by all means, you would not be restricted for making your application to the bank, and you are encouraged to do so via hr@albaraka.co.za.
Thank you very much. I hope Kanyisani, you have been answered. Over to you, Zaahirah.
Okay, thank you. Good afternoon to everyone that's on this call, and thank you for your time. I'm Zaahirah Sheik Ismail, and I'm with the bank for about 8 years now. So my talk today is on my journey from UKZN through current, and I'll just take you through quickly through what I've learned in this process, and hopefully you can take something back with you from this talk today. So I graduated in 2014 with a computer science and IST degree. A 3-year degree took me 4 because I did fail my first year, but that didn't hold me back. And then after that, I wanted to find a job. The job market was really difficult, couldn't get a job. So I went on to study, do my honors in information systems and technology. When I was done with that, at the end of that year, I applied for the graduate program at the last hour to the bank. And during that process, I went through the entire process. My one interview was done with the CEO of the bank. So yeah, successful in that post, and I started off as an IT graduate. At that time, the graduate program was different to how it is now. It was a 12-month rotational program. I had to go across the entire organization in different departments, not specifically in IT. So I worked at the branch, I worked in credit, I worked in finance. It was all across for those 12 months. And I went through that successfully. You learn a lot of different concepts, you get a lot of knowledge, you learn about different people. When we in university, yes, we're mostly working with individuals our own age, and then you come into the workforce and no, now you're working with someone who's 50 and you're new and you have all of this knowledge but no experience. So yes, this allowed me to gain valuable knowledge within the organization and the skills that you learn while at university. So you do a lot of presentations in your third year, in your honors. Hold on to that, and it does come in handy. Like today, I have to present to an audience. There's been a lot of presentations that I had to go through. So do these things and learn from it and how to better yourself. Thereafter, the graduate program was just for 12 months. I became an IT assistant, and there I worked in IT for about a year or so. This is where I built my technical skills and the understanding of IT operations. So not any development, just going through it, learning IT, learning the concept. And then within that job function, I developed a strong foundation in troubleshooting and maintenance. And all of this would help me grow to my next position that I go into. So in 2018, I finally became permanent as a SharePoint administrator within the 365 space. So now it was more collaboration, organizational needs, user experience, system performances. So I built my knowledge there. Also with integrating different systems and how we can make things better. 2 months after that, I was offered an additional job as a SAS administrator. So SAS is your reporting and analytical tool that we're using within the organization, which also assisted me with new learnings, system integration, working within teams, and so forth. As at current, as of July 2024, I stepped into a role as a senior developer. After 8 years, finally in a place where I'm meant to be. Here I'm working with Power Apps and Power Automate to drive innovation and efficiency with organization. And if I look back, whatever I've learned throughout the years have brought me to this place, but now I have an understanding of the IT side, I have an understanding of project management side, and a deeper understanding of user needs and how the organization works and what's needed from the organization and the users. So my journey from a UKZN graduate to a senior developer has been filled with learning opportunities and challenges, but it has shaped my career. This is not the end. I will go further. At this point, I would like to be a Microsoft Power Platforms architect. So that's the next goal. But with all of the technology that is growing, you have to keep abreast and continue to learn. So today, my advice is to you guys will be always be willing to learn. Even if something you don't understand, make an initiative, try and get to know it, try and understand what's happening. We need to prioritize hands-on experience. So whatever opportunities you get, take it. So engage in internships, in projects or part-time roles that allow you to apply what you've learned into a real-world setting. Be open to different roles. So you're not, like Lutchmee said, you sometimes not going to get into the field that you want, but that doesn't stop you from taking it on and learning. And then seek feedback and mentorship. So regular feedback and guidance from mentors can help you navigate your career path and improve your learnings. And don't hesitate to seek advice from experienced professionals. I'm going to leave you with this. You will end up where you are meant to be. And as you work your way, they embrace every challenge as an opportunity to learn and grow. A commitment to continuous learning will set you apart and drive your success. So you do it for yourself, however you do, but you will be where you're meant to be. Just continue learning and taking the opportunities that's presented to you. Thank you, Edgar. I'm done on my presentation.
Thank you very much, Zaahirah. We move on to the Q&A session now. So if any of the students amongst us, if you've got any question, please raise up your hand. If you raise up your hand, you will be unmuted to ask your question. If you don't have a mic, you can still use the chat room for your questions. I'm not seeing any hands. The floor is open for questions. Maybe I have one question for Zaahirah. I just want to check from Zaahirah. After having done finished your honors with UKZN, how was the transition from being a student to an employee? The skills that you got from UKZN, did they help you to easily transition to be an employee at Albaraka?
It did, and also you have to work on yourself. So in terms of team activities, like I said, your presentations, you're working on projects, your understanding, that did assist to transition in, but there are other skills that you need to work on once you get in. So it's a whole different space, and once you get in, you would need to change and adjust your skills and the way you communicate. Like I mentioned, we're generally working with people our own age, and then you come into an organization and it's people from different backgrounds, different ages, and you learn to work with them.
Okay, thank you. Thank you very much. The next question we have in the chat room is from Tabelo Sosa. Thank you, Tabelo. And the question goes as follows. I think this is directed to Lutchmee. Would there be any data science opportunities in the bank in the future?
So on the data science side, I see that maybe more aligned to maybe IT. So there's opportunities coming up on the digitalization side in the next month or so. We are looking for graduates to join us. I think it will be based on the merit of your CV and your type of qualification that may interest us in shortlisting you for an interview. So yeah, I think we not only look for qualification, like I mentioned, we also look for people with the right attitude and aptitude to succeed within a high performance, fast-paced environment. So yeah, I think make the application. Don't let that limit you, and we will see if it can be aligned to the vacancies that we have available. Thanks.
Thank you, Lutchmee. Any other questions? Comments are also welcome. Okay, it looks like we don't have any more questions. I would want to take this opportunity to thank our colleagues from Albaraka Bank for taking their time to come and present to our students. We are very much excited by having you here and the opportunities that you're opening up for our students, and hopefully our students will will contact you and try and follow up on the opportunities that you do provide. Sinekratla, I'm handing over to you. My understanding is this will be the last Tech Talk for the year. Is there anything that we're still looking forward to?
On the 19th of September, we're having an event with Standard Bank for final years and postgrad, but we will send out the invites once we have one.
Okay, thank you very much, Sinekratla. So I think we come to the end of this Tech Talk. Enjoy the rest of your day. Bye for now.
Bye.
Thank you, Edgar.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.